young kids, and he said, I knew I had to deal with him early down the back straight because he's an aggressive rider, he said, and I thought, my goodness, you know, the adrenaline of his first potential podium, it might get a bit...
Once again this afternoon, this morning even, Giulio Pugliese we were just looking at there. He would have been disappointed with finishing off the podium there at the back of that group, but Peter, for me, the rider I'm looking at, it could well see a big group today, given the changing in weather factors.
Yeah, and of course we don't know, you know, the riders they're telling everybody else what gearing they're using, fine, but now that has changed, turned around completely. And there is the 54 of Veda Pratama, and as he said, he's going to learn from yesterday, but he was in great form, wasn't he? You know, he got a brilliant start, and he was definitely the man they were all chasing for the first half of the race.
Yeah, he was cracking, wasn't he? There he is, from pole position then, ahead of Ariarte and Gonzalez. Also had an accident yesterday, caught up with Christian Daniel Jr.'s accident. Alejandro Fernandez starts at 22nd ahead of Lucas Brown and KJ Monignane, who celebrated his birthday this weekend. Happy birthday, KJ. Then, row 9, Zenmitani. No Lennox Famara today after returning from injury yesterday. He decided to rest a little bit more to be fully fit for Mugello. We wish him the very best.
In the race than he had been in practice, and the bike just wasn't set up to run that sort of pace, so it really shredded the tyres. But of course the guys have worked on it overnight. He'll have a different setting today and should be able to run the same pace but keep it going to the end of the race and not suffer the end of the race.
Away with it. You predicted yesterday no chance of someone running away with it. Veda Pratama gave it his best shot in the opening laps, didn't he? What are your predictions?
Well, you know, as I say, I think the gearing is so crucial. Slipstream is so important here, and that's why people don't tend to run away with it, because they need the slipstream to do the lap time. But if the
numbers like we had at the start of the second race at Le Mans, perhaps, it is them two starting to eke away with it at the top of the standings, aren't they? There is your series leader, Hakim Dinish. 5 second places in a row now. He was disappointed yesterday. I caught him a little bit after the race, and you could just tell he was a bit muted and disappointed not to have the victory once again.
Yeah, I think another person to look to is Benyat Fernandez. Of course, he started from the back of the grid with a grid penalty yesterday. He's in the middle of the 3rd row, and he has been incredibly quick so far this season. The tension mounts, the revs rise. Who's going to make the start? Will it be Veda getting into the first corner first? And away they go, and again Brian Ariarte gets it rolling very well, and so does Veda. Veda again has the advantage from pole position. Just that extra metre that he has setting off from pole was all he needed to get into the first corner ahead, as he did yesterday.
And it is Veda and Brian already. Veda Fernandez going up the inside there of him, the number 7. But we have David Gonzalez in 3rd place. 4th is Christian Daniel Jr. That is a much better start from him than much further up the grid in this sort of part of the race than he was yesterday. Now we're at the top of the plateau before coming down. Yellow helmets, they're not making our job very easy.
Not at all. But of course, yeah, Christian Daniel was one of those with a grid penalty. He had to come off the back of the grid yesterday, and that, of course, contributed to the crash.
It is Dinish in 3rd.
Too soon.
It's Dinish in 3rd, Peter. Your series leader, 3rd position is the number 13. So really come onto the back straight for the first time now. That was very cleanly overtaken there.
Right, and it's the slipstream down the back straight from 1st gear all the way up to 6th gear down the back straight. 226 kilometres an hour, 140 miles an hour, absolutely flat out, and they're still hard on it as they flick it right. And they're
Daniel overtaking Benyat Fernandez, and you can just see the difference in line choices through the left-hand sweepers there to finish the lap. We come across the line for the first time. Pratama, Ariarte, Dinish, Gonzalez in 4th position.
Yeah.
You've actually got Pugliese. It's the same top 5 that we had yesterday in the race at the moment. Carter Thompson, the rider in 6th position. That's where he started on the grid today. Singapore got a great start up into 8th position from 10th. That first lap was pretty decent for him, making up all background as Hakim Dinish goes back into 3rd.
1st gear, then a very quick change, 1st to 2nd to 3rd to 4th through this incredibly fast left-hander, absolutely fighting for grip here, feeling just where the limit is. You're on board with Brian Ariarte. You can hear the engine.
Yeah, absolutely screaming, isn't it? As we come into turns 12 and 13, this is where
out onto the back straight then. From first gear, up through the gearbox to sixth. Pick up the slipstream. Head tucked down, crawling underneath the paintwork. And it still is Veda Pratama, the number 13 of Hakim Danic, pulls out alongside the 51 of Raih Podium and into second place.
The fastest lap of the race, a 2:03.5. Significantly slower than what we were yesterday. Yesterday running 2:02s, down to 2:01s.
And that lead four has disappeared because Carter's dragged them back into contention. So Pugliese, Christian Daniel Jr.
The Kyrgyzstani rider just ahead of that chasing pack, led by Fernandez. So yeah, we do have a top 8 now, and I think it's got to be the win factor and the difference in conditions, Peter.
And looking back down the field, you know, coming off the back of the grid, as we said, yesterday.
He's going to struggle with it at the moment. He's running a 2:04 pace, 2:04.7. I mean, that's a second slower than what the leaders were running earlier on. So he's going to struggle to make the same sort of progress that he had yesterday.
Interesting, isn't it? Because he was so incredible the way he pulled through the field yesterday. If he can do it yesterday, why can't he do it today?
Everyone else has done their homework. In the back straight. It's quite a bike length or 3 in between each rider nearly there, as we're on board with Uriarte.
And I think that was on the limiter, wasn't it, as he went into the left-hander. So he hasn't gone for the higher gearing. An advantage with the tailwind down the back straight.
Keep your eye on the number 17 of Karpushin there, and 2:02.5. He was the fastest rider on track last time around by a fairly decent margin. He is really on a move. There he is in the middle of your screens. The Kyrgyzstani rider up in towards turn 5.
Is there on the 13 in a very strong third place ahead of Brian Uriarte. But I'm sure David Gonzalez has got thoughts of trying to break this pack.
Got Marco Morelli there, along with Benyat Fernandez in 9th and 10th position. When they crossed the line, they were 1.3 seconds back from the leading pack and Christian Daniel.
Racing David Gonzalez since they were kids, and he said he knew for yesterday's race that he's very quick, he's aggressive, and he had to deal with him early in the last lap yesterday. Brian Uriarte said, and of course he managed that to take the victory. But now it's going to be a lot harder because the number 11 has got.
Yeah, they didn't really make too many inroads on him there down the back straight. I mean, his lead isn't what it was. And wow, look how wide and fast that Veda Pratama's going through there.
Still 9 laps to go as they cross the line now.
Now it's a big headwind, you got to remember that.
And this climbing right-hander up to 170 kilometres an hour, 106 miles an hour through 4th gear, change it into 5th just before you go back through the gearbox, and in fact down to 1st for the very tight left-hander.
That was Pugliese getting pushed well wide there in towards turn 5. He's now at the back of this lead.
Pulled away by Veda Pratama as they go down through the corkscrew. The advantage that he has largely gone. Let's see how they can go 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, up into 5th through this screaming left-hander. And they managed to keep it on the track this time.
The wider you go on the curves, the more slippery as it gets. You can see the
over Veda Pratama again, and of course it's a crucial part of the track to get an advantage because you pretty much deny the slipstream. I don't think that Veda's going to pick up much of a slipstream from way back there. And there's the 51 chasing the 13. That's Brian Uriarte chasing Hakim Danic. No, I don't think they did. So he's closed up a couple of bike lengths there. And whoa, what a battle for 3rd place. That is superb, isn't it? Veda still has it.
Just looking at the timing screens there, Peter. I mean, David Gonzalez crossed the line last time around, 2.5 tenths ahead of everybody else, and it's roughly that same gap now. Oh, just lost the front, braking into turn 5 there. I mean, so easily done. We saw it yesterday, Moto 2. Manuel Gonzalez do a similar thing. He was a bit wider when he lost the front, but it's a corner which is so easy to lose the front, and he had just overtaken Karpushin. Oh dear.
Okay, so he's okay. Right, still David Gonzalez has the advantage over Veda Pratama, Hakim Danic, Brian Uriarte.
car pushing. First we've seen of him right at the front of a Rookies Cup race. Him and Hakim Danish know each other very well. They're part of the same training group with Riders Formation.
Interesting to see the 51 there of Brian Uritin now at the back of that group. I don't think he's going to be super happy with that. Okay, he knows there's still 7 laps to go, but he certainly doesn't want to lose track of David Gonzalez at the front.
Well, David Gonzalez has lost the front. He has moved back into 3rd position now, so Veda's caught him. Hakim's in 2nd place, and if there's one anywhere but first, it's going to be Hakim Danish.
And David Gonzalez goes back past Hakim and into 2nd place behind Veda Pratama. That is the 17 you can see there of Yaroslav Karpushin.
Meanwhile, Christian Daniel taking a quarter of a second out of this lap back now into 9th position. Ramastorp, who crashed out yesterday, up into 10th. Ramadipa, a 2nd Indonesian rider we've got in the Rookies Cup this year, 11th. Agustinelli, who had a great run out yesterday to finish in 8th place, the number 9, currently in 12th ahead of Singapore and Tinez.
And Mounsey and Mitani in 16th and 7th.
With that kind of result, they can't make any more progress.
So it's Pratama now who has the advantage out onto the back straight. David Gonzalez tucks in behind and picks up the slipstream. Hakim Danish on the 13. 17, of course, is Yaroslav Karpushin. And then Brian Uriarte at the back of that pack.
Penampilan Veda Ega Pratama pada seri ketiga Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup 2025 di sirkuit Aragon, 7-8 Juni 2025. Musim 2025 menjadi momen penting bagi karir global Veda Ega Pratama, pembalap muda asal Gunung Kidul, di Yogyakarta. Setelah tampil gemilang sebagai juara Asia Talent Cup 2023 dan mengukir podium pertamanya di Austria pada 2024, ia melanjutkan kiprahnya di arena Eropa melalui Red Bull Rookies Cup 2025, yang menurut jadwal menyambangi Aragon sebagai seri ketiga pada 7-8 Juni. Sebelum memasuki balapan Aragon, Veda menunjukkan performa yang menjanjikan. Debutnya musim ini dibumbui pole position dan catatan fastest lap di Jerez, serta persaingan ketat di Le Mans menunjukkan konsistensi dan adaptasi cepatnya terhadap sirkuit-sirkuit Eropa. Kualifikasi Aragon, puncak persiapan. Pada sesi kualifikasi, KTT, untuk seri Aragon, Veda berhasil mencatatkan waktu tercepat dan meraih pole position untuk race 1, sekaligus mencatat fastest lap sesi. Ini menjadi bukti adaptasinya yang luar biasa cepat dengan lintasan Motorland Aragon yang panjang, teknikal, dan memiliki karakter unik. Secara khusus, meraih pole di Aragon bukan sekadar angka. Sirkuit ini memiliki banyak tikungan lambat dan cepat, elevasi tinggi rendah, dan permukaan aspal yang menuntut keseimbangan sempurna antara kecepatan dan kontrol motor. Veda mampu menunjukkannya, menjadi satu-satunya pembalap yang mampu meraih keunggulan di atas lintasan tersebut pada sesi kualifikasi. Race 1, kejutan dari grid utama. Race 1, 7 Juni, dimulai dengan atmosfer menegangkan. Rider asal Spanyol Brian Uriarte memimpin sejak awal dan berhasil mempertahankan posisinya hingga garis finish. Di belakangnya, Hakim Danish, Malaysia, finish kedua, sedangkan podium ketiga diisi oleh David Gonzalez, Spanyol. Bagi Veda, meskipun memulai dari pole, persaingan ketat saat balapan berlangsung menyebabkan posisinya terpental dari barisan depan. Walau demikian, catatan bahwa ia mencatat fastest lap menandakan kecepatannya tetap kompetitif dan ia mampu menembus dominasi duo Spanyol-Malaysia ini, antara news.com. Keunggulan kecepatan, Veda menunjukkan potensi besar lewat lap time tercepat. Interaksi persaingan, posisi grid memang penting, namun saat race strategi dan pengalaman duel sangat menentukan. Pelajaran teknis, lengkungan cepat di Cicane dan trek lurus panjang Aragon mungkin belum sepenuhnya ia eksploitasi, untuk itu dibutuhkan pembelajaran lebih lanjut. Race 2, balasan taktis. Pada race 2, 8 Juni, dinamika balapan berubah. Hakim Danish tampil dominan dan keluar sebagai pemenang. Dion peringkat kedua direbut oleh Brian Uriarta, diikuti David Gonzalez di posisi ketiga. Balapmotor.net, The Wikipedia orang. Situasi ini semakin menegaskan kekuatan Rizal musuh utama Veda, duo Uriarta dan Danish. Keduanya telah menunjukkan dominasi di beberapa seri sebelumnya, dan Aragon memperkokoh reputasi mereka. Dampak untuk Veda. Wonder Ga performance terlihat dari podium atas, maka bagi Veda penting mengevaluasi elemen-elemen seperti start, adaptasi setup, dan ritme balap. Meskipun belum podium, catatan fastest lap berarti si pembalap muda ini berada dalam wilayah top pace. Ini peluang besar untuk perbaikan mental dan strategi ke depannya. Sementara itu,